Have you ever felt a sinking sensation in the pit of your stomach when interacting with someone? A nagging feeling that something isn't quite right, despite their charming exterior? Well, that gut instinct could be trying to tell you something important. We live in a world where not everyone has good intentions. Beneath the surface of polite society, there exist individuals who lack basic human decency and moral fiber. These are the people we might describe as evil, manipulative, deceitful, and devoid of empathy. As Stoics, we strive to live virtuous lives guided by reason and logic. However, navigating the complexities of human interactions can be challenging, especially when dealing with individuals who lack moral integrity. How can we protect ourselves from falling prey to their malicious schemes? The answer lies in being able to recognize the telltale signs that someone is not who they seem to be. In this video, we'll explore 5 critical red flags that should raise alarm bells: pathological lying, lack of empathy and remorse, blame shifting and denial, manipulation and control, and lack of regard for human life and suffering. But I'll also reveal one final, deeply disturbing sign that goes beyond individual depravity into how entire cultures and societies can become agents of immorality on a mass scale. A sign so insidious, it allows the most grotesque of moral transgressions to be packaged as righteousness itself. Stay tuned until the very end, as this bone-chilling revelation may be the most important warning of all. By understanding these signs, you'll be better equipped to identify and disengage from toxic relationships, protecting your mental well-being and upholding the Stoic principles of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. So, let's dive in and arm ourselves with the knowledge to avoid getting fooled by those who would seek to exploit and harm us. Sign 1. Architects of deception. Ever dealt with someone whose words seem to create an alternate reality? One filled with deceptions and falsehoods so intricate you couldn't separate fact from fiction. This is the disorienting experience of dealing with a pathological liar. Pathological lying goes beyond the occasional white lie or embellished tale. It's a compulsive behavior driven by an innate need to deceive, where individuals construct elaborate falsehoods, often for no apparent reason. These lies can range from seemingly harmless exaggerations to outright fraud with severe consequences. What makes pathological liars truly insidious is their uncanny ability to craft believable narratives. They skillfully interweave threads of truth, making their fabrications more plausible. When confronted, they may become defensive, doubling down on their deceptions, causing you to doubt your own perception of reality. This gaslighting tactic is designed to manipulate you into questioning your sanity and accepting their version of events. Pathological lying is often a symptom of deeper psychological issues, such as narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, or even psychopathy. These individuals may lie for various reasons, including a desire for attention, a need for control, or a complete lack of regard for the truth and the consequences of their actions. One of the most damaging aspects of pathological lying is the erosion of trust it causes. How can you build authentic connections when you can never be certain of the truth? Relationships become fraught with suspicion, and even the most innocuous statements are met with skepticism. This constant state of doubt can take a toll on your mental well-being, leading to anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. Moreover, pathological lying can have far-reaching consequences beyond personal relationships. In professional settings, it can lead to financial losses, legal issues, and damage to a company's reputation. In extreme cases, pathological lying can even result in criminal charges if the lies involve fraud, perjury, or other illegal activities. Yet, as destructive as pathological lying is, it's merely the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the insidious tactics employed by those lacking moral fiber. Another equally chilling red flag is a profound lack of empathy and remorse, a topic we'll explore in our next section. Pathological lying is a complex and deeply troubling behavior that can have devastating effects on those who encounter it. By understanding its dynamics and recognizing the telltale signs, you can better protect yourself from falling victim to these manipulative individuals and the emotional turmoil they can inflict. Sign 2. When human suffering means nothing. Imagine looking into the eyes of another human being and seeing nothing. A void where compassion and emotional resonance should exist, leaving you chilled to the bone. Empathy is the emotional glue that binds us together as a society. It allows us to understand and connect with the experiences of others, fostering compassion, kindness, and a sense of shared humanity. Without empathy, we become isolated islands, detached from the emotional currents that flow between us. Individuals who lack empathy often exhibit a disturbing pattern of behavior. They may be unable to recognize or respond appropriately to the emotions of others, dismissing or trivializing their pain and distress. They may even engage in callous or cruel acts without remorse, seeming oblivious to the suffering they cause. This lack of empathy is often accompanied by a profound absence of remorse or guilt. These individuals may harm others, whether through words or actions, yet remain entirely unrepentant. They may rationalize or justify their behavior, shifting blame onto their victims or external circumstances, refusing to take responsibility for the pain they've inflicted. The consequences of this lack of empathy and remorse can be devastating. Relationships become riddled with emotional neglect and emotional abuse, as the needs and feelings of others are consistently disregarded. Trust is eroded, and intimacy becomes impossible, leaving loved ones feeling isolated and devalued. Furthermore, this trait can manifest in broader societal contexts, leading to a disregard for human rights, social injustice, and even atrocities committed against entire populations. History is replete with examples of individuals and regimes that have exhibited a chilling lack of empathy, enabling them to carry out unspeakable acts of cruelty and oppression. Yet even in the face of such emotional detachment, it's crucial to remember that these individuals are not beyond redemption. Through therapy, self-reflection, and a genuine desire to change, it is possible for them to develop greater empathy and remorse, though the journey is often long and arduous. While a lack of empathy and remorse is a deeply troubling characteristic, it is but one aspect of the manipulative tactics employed by those lacking moral fiber. In our next section, we'll explore another red flag: the insidious behavior of blame shifting and denial. Sign 3. Halls of mirrors, masters of deflection. Have you ever felt like you were being driven mad by someone determined to gaslight you, twisting the truth, avoiding accountability, and making you question your very sanity? Blame shifting and denial are insidious tactics employed by those lacking moral integrity. They are defense mechanisms used to avoid accountability and maintain a false sense of superiority or control. Blame shifting involves attributing one's own mistakes, flaws, or transgressions to others. Instead of taking ownership of their actions, these individuals will point fingers, making others the scapegoat for their misdeeds. This not only absolves them of responsibility but also serves to undermine and destabilize their victims. Denial, on the other hand, is the outright refusal to acknowledge reality. These individuals may blatantly reject facts, evidence, or the experiences of others, choosing instead to cling to their own distorted version of events. This tactic is often accompanied by gaslighting, where they may attempt to manipulate others into doubting their own perceptions or memories. The psychological motivations behind blame shifting and denial are complex. Some individuals may employ these tactics to protect their fragile egos, unable to handle the discomfort of admitting fault or weakness. Others may use them as a means of maintaining power and control, undermining the credibility of those who challenge them. The consequences of these behaviors are far-reaching and damaging. Relationships become mired in toxicity as trust is eroded and communication breaks down. Victims may experience anxiety, depression, and even trauma as their reality is constantly questioned and invalidated. In professional settings, blame shifting and denial can create a toxic work environment, stifle productivity, and undermine the overall success of an organization. When leaders or colleagues refuse to take responsibility for their actions, it breeds resentment, mistrust, and a lack of accountability. Moreover, these tactics can have broader societal implications, enabling systemic injustices and perpetuating cycles of oppression. When those in power shift blame and deny reality, marginalized groups suffer and progress is stalled. Overcoming blame shifting and denial requires a commitment to self-awareness, humility, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. It is a journey that demands courage, self-reflection, and a genuine desire for personal growth and accountability. While blame shifting and denial are profoundly troubling behaviors, they are merely one facet of the manipulative tactics employed by those lacking moral fiber. In our next section, we'll explore another insidious form of control and exploitation: manipulation. Sign 4. Tyrants of the mind. How free will itself is violated. Have you ever felt trapped in a web of manipulation where your every move was carefully orchestrated to serve someone else's agenda? A twisted game of power and control where your autonomy was slowly stripped away, leaving you disoriented and isolated. Manipulation is an insidious form of psychological abuse, employed by those who seek to exploit and dominate others for their own gain. It is a calculated and methodical process designed to undermine your sense of self, erode your boundaries, and render you dependent on the manipulator. At its core, manipulation is about control. These individuals crave power over others, and they will employ a variety of tactics to achieve their goals. They may use emotional blackmail, guilt-tripping, or even outright threats to coerce you into compliance. They may gaslight you, causing you to doubt your own reality and perceptions, making you more susceptible to their influence. Manipulators are often skilled at identifying and exploiting vulnerabilities. They may prey on your insecurities, fears, or desires, using them as leverage to bend you to their will. They may also isolate you from support systems, making you increasingly dependent on them and more susceptible to their manipulation. The impact of manipulation can be devastating, leaving deep psychological scars. Victims may experience anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and even post-traumatic stress disorder. Relationships become toxic, built on a foundation of fear, mistrust, and a complete lack of autonomy. In professional settings, manipulation can create a hostile and unproductive work environment where employees are pitted against one another and creativity is stifled by a culture of fear and control. Recovering from the effects of manipulation requires a commitment to self-care, boundary setting, and rebuilding a sense of autonomy. It is a journey that demands strength, resilience, and often the support of trained professionals. Yet, as insidious as manipulation and control are, they are merely one facet of the broader spectrum of evil behavior. In our next section, we'll explore one of the most chilling signs of all, a lack of regard for human life and suffering. Sign 5. When suffering fails to resonate. Can you fathom someone so emotionally detached, so utterly devoid of a basic human quality? The ability to be moved by the sight of immeasurable suffering and pain. A chilling lack of regard for human life that left you questioning the depths of their inhumanity. A fundamental aspect of our shared humanity is the capacity for empathy, the ability to feel and understand the pain and suffering of others. It is this empathy that compels us to act with kindness, to alleviate the burdens of those in need, and to uphold the inherent dignity of human life. Yet there exist those who lack this core trait, individuals who seem incapable of recognizing or valuing the sanctity of human existence. They exhibit a profound detachment from the experiences of others, an indifference to suffering that is both disturbing and incomprehensible. This lack of regard for human life can manifest in various ways, from callous indifference to active cruelty. These individuals may dismiss or trivialize the suffering of others, remaining unmoved by tales of hardship, loss, or tragedy. In extreme cases, they may even inflict harm upon others without remorse, seemingly devoid of any sense of moral boundaries. The psychological and philosophical implications of this trait are profound. It challenges our fundamental assumptions about what it means to be human, and forces us to grapple with the darkest depths of human nature. How can one lack the basic empathy that binds us together as a species? What chasms of the soul must be traversed to reach such a state of emotional detachment? This lack of regard for human life and suffering is often a hallmark of those with deeply entrenched personality disorders, such as psychopathy or narcissistic personality disorder. These individuals may view others as mere objects, tools to be exploited or discarded at will, devoid of any inherent worth or value. In broader societal contexts, this trait can manifest in the form of human rights violations, genocide, and other atrocities committed against civilian populations. History is replete with examples of regimes and individuals who have exhibited a chilling disregard for human life, enabling them to carry out unspeakable acts of cruelty and oppression. Confronting and addressing this lack of regard for human life and suffering requires a multifaceted approach, involving education, mental health intervention, and a commitment to upholding the fundamental values of human rights and dignity. Final sign: when morality itself turns evil. When we think of evil, we often envision individuals acting alone, driven by their own moral failings or personal depravity. But there exists an insidious force that can turn even ordinary people into agents of immorality on a massive scale. The normalization and rationalization of evil acts within groups or societies. This sign isn't about any one person's lack of empathy or disregard for human suffering. Rather, it represents how moral transgressions that should be seen as abhorrent can become accepted, institutionalized, and even valorized when cloaked in the righteous language of an ideology, belief system, or agenda. Throughout history, we've witnessed this disturbing phenomenon time and again. The Nazis didn't simply wake up one day and decide to perpetrate genocide. It was the end result of years of indoctrination, where a warped value system made the unconscionable appear reasonable, even virtuous in the eyes of the group. Oppressive regimes, ethnic persecutions, religious wars, all are made possible when people construct a shared ethical framework that rationalizes injustice and recasts evil as necessary or noble. The more people rationalizing the same abhorrent acts, the more a culture of moral relativism takes hold. But we need not look only at history's most extreme examples. This sign manifests in subtler ways all around us, in communities stubbornly defending unethical practices, institutions protecting wrongdoers, or seemingly ordinary people participating in harmful activities when part of an insular group identity. The terrifying truth is that, given the right circumstances and social conditioning, even reasonable people can become untethered from the foundations of ethical behavior. Absolute horrors cease to be horrors at all when filtered through the distorted ethical lens of the collective. Recognizing this sign means looking beyond individual evil to also identify the more insidious force of morally bankrupt ideologies and rationalizations that can infect entire cultures. Only by remaining vigilant against such malignant ethical frameworks can we hope to uphold humanity's shared values of compassion and justice. Conclusion. In our exploration of the telltale signs of evil individuals, we've delved into the depths of human darkness, pathological lying, lack of empathy and remorse, blame-shifting and denial, manipulation and control, and a profound disregard for human life and suffering. These traits, when present in an individual, should raise immediate alarm bells, prompting us to disengage and protect ourselves from their toxic influence. However, it's crucial to remember that not all displays of these characteristics are necessarily indicative of true evil. Life is complex, and humans are flawed beings, capable of both immense goodness and profound failings. What separates the truly evil from the simply misguided is the presence of malicious intent and a complete disregard for the well-being of others. As Stoics, we must strive to navigate the complexities of human interaction with wisdom, discernment, and a commitment to our core values of virtue, reason, and self-control. By remaining vigilant and attuned to the red flags we've discussed, we can better protect ourselves from falling prey to the manipulations of those who would seek to exploit and harm us. Ultimately, the greatest defense against evil lies within ourselves, in cultivating a strong sense of self-worth, setting healthy boundaries, and surrounding ourselves with a supportive network of individuals who uplift and empower us. It is through this inner strength and resilience that we can rise above the darkness and continue to walk the path of virtue, even in the face of adversity. So, share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Have you encountered any of these signs in your life? How did you handle the situation? And remember, together we can shine a light on the shadows and emerge victorious in our pursuit of a life guided by wisdom and ethical principles. Don't stop your journey of introspection and personal growth here. The path to living a virtuous life in accordance with Stoic principles is an ongoing one, filled with challenges and opportunities for self-improvement. The road ahead may not be easy, but armed with the timeless principles of Stoicism, you'll be equipped to navigate life's complexities with wisdom, courage, and an unwavering commitment to virtue. Continue delving deeper by exploring the thought-provoking videos queued up next on your screen. Embrace this opportunity for continued learning and growth. Stay curious, stay engaged, and keep striving to become the best version of yourself.